The turkeys seem to be quite a bit slower than the meat birds, which is nice when you're trying to catch them. Whoa! That didn't work. Good late morning, I guess. Took me a bit to get going this morning, so I came out and did the chores earlier, but I've just been hanging out inside. So we need to get these things out of this thing. So these turkeys are almost a month old, 3.5 weeks old, and they are making a mess of this brooder, and they need to go out on pasture. So let me see if I can get one to show you. Whoa. All right, not that one. So these things are huge. They have most of their feathers. They still have a couple of the small feathers, but they're ready to go. So we need to get the chicken tractor ready for them to go. So I built this Suscovich style chicken tractor earlier in the year. We got the hardware cloth or poultry net on it, hardware cloth on the bottom, got the door, the tops, it's all set. It is on some wheels. If you have been around for a while, you saw us pull the pigs up to the area that they're at in this. So I got to take those 4 wheels off because those are not going to stay on here. Although I suppose I could leave them on here. I don't want to. So I need to make a wheel lift system, which I'm going to try to do today, which should be easy and basic. And then I got to get a tarp on this thing, and I have to get it set up for a waterer. So I have to get that done before I can move them out. I'm not sure I'll get them out today. It might be tomorrow before they're out, but the heat lamp has been off on them for 3 or 4 days. We kind of weaned them off of the heat lamp, and it's hot out. It's only getting down to, I don't know, upper 60s at night. So not worried about them. They'll be fine out here. All right, so we're gonna use those bell waters that we used last year, and I need a place to mount it. So let's see how high up I want this. All right, so that should hold, but it's gonna be quite a bit of weight, so I cut this as well. This brace. All right. And just screw this into that bar. should work. All right, so we got our bucket on. Last year we had one of these pins on this valve break off, so I had to order some new ones. So we got to get that installed. It should be pretty easy if I can do it with the wind today. Usually I'll heat it up a little bit, but I forgot my lighter inside, so. Alright, no problem. So that just goes on there, and we'll get this hung on the inside. I go wash it out, and we'll just hang it from this bar on the back here. This will just feed in. And then we can work on the wheels. So I'll go wash this out, we'll get this hung up, and show you what it looks like. These thunderstorms are something else in the afternoon. I got caught, but we got one wheel on. So I'll kind of show you what we did, and then I'll show you how we did on the other side. It should hopefully work. It's definitely tall enough. In fact, it's pretty tall that I think a full Cornish cross would actually fall out the back. You can see that side's off the ground quite a bit. About as high as that jack stand, maybe a little bit less. So that way when we're pulling, if a bird falls out, it falls out, and we can just go catch it and put it back in. But we'll start working on the other side. All right, so got a board that we drilled through. I just have a bearing here that I had lying around from I think these wheels, or I don't know, one of the wheels. So we want the bearing on the inside. And we can put the bolt through. And we need a spacer. Put my washer. So the inside one is a lock nut, nylock nut, and the outside is just a regular nut. So that will get tightened there, and then we'll take the wheel. It has this with the shaft on it and no shaft, so you want it going like that. Stuck on there, of course. So we'll put a washer and a nylock nut on the inside, and you just want the nylock nut to just touch the threads, because otherwise you won't have enough clearance. So now that'll swing up and around, and that'll rotate, and then I just had these anchor bolts lying around. This for concrete. You put it in the concrete and then you fasten your wall to it. So I'll go through this other hole that I drilled, and I'm just going to put a nut on the end of this so that this piece won't fall off, and then that sticks through here. Take this off. It rests on there. now we should be able to pull it. Look at that. Perfect. So it definitely, it's quite a bit of weight, and it does put a little weight on here, but I'm sure over time I can figure out a modification. But then when you're done moving it, I'll put a rope on this end, just pull that out, and then it sits flat. I'll do the same thing with this side. Flat. So that's a quick and easy wheel system, and it should work out just fine. There's definitely nicer options out there if you want to spend the money. Chick lift is the nicest one, but they're not cheap, and we got 3 other chicken tractors to do, so I think this will work just fine. I'll keep modifying it, and if it works out after we get done or halfway done with the turkeys, after a month or so using it, I'll probably put a video together when I do it on those chicken tractors before I put our meat birds in those ones, and then any updates or tweaks that I have as well, we'll put those in there. But those should work for now. So I'll add a string to that end, string to that end. Already got the string in the front with a hook so I can hook it to the lawnmower, and just got to put a tarp on top. My sunglasses for this white tarp. Pretty bright. All right, so Tina measured this and said it was 10 by 10, and we ordered a 10 by 10 tarp. So if it's wrong, it's not my fault. Just know that. Let that be known. But if it's right, it's definitely because I meant it. Honestly, you guys have seen me measure. You know I don't get much accurate the first time, so I can't even play it off as if it is my doing. All right, so we got to get them water in that bucket, and I have been addicted lately to water catchment. So we got 2 barrels that are full from all this rain. I'm sure there was more we could have gotten had I been here, but we also have a bucket right here that we can use to fill that up. But those barrels, I've been using that little Milwaukee pump that I have, but it doesn't work that great for long distances. So I have a sump pump, but it requires power. So I'm gonna use this new product that we got. It's like a solar power station, or it's a power station that has a solar charger with it, made by 𝐸𝑚𝑎𝑙. They sent it to us, and we've been using it for this. We've been using it to charge batteries in the house build and all that stuff. So I'll pull that out, and then we'll fire it up and get it to work. All right, so here's this little 𝐸𝑚𝑎𝑙 power station. This is the 500 watt one. They have, I think they have a 300. I know they have 1,000. They might have a 1,500. I can't remember for sure, but this is the 500, which is perfect for charging batteries, running the sump pump, taking camping with you, whatever, 500 watts is plenty. So it's got a light on the back, a light on the side. You can charge, I think this is USB-C, USB, regular DC, all that good stuff. You got the AC outlets. So to work it, just power it on. I did charge it up. They sent us a solar panel with it as well, 100 watt solar panel. It takes about 5 hours to charge this thing from I think I was at 20% or something like that, which you can buy more solar panels and run them in parallel, which I may do in the future. So it's at 95% right now. You got to turn the AC on, or the USB, or the DC, whatever. There's power buttons for each one. So it's on right now. Let me get this bad boy plugged in. It's got 1,000 watt surge. So when you first see, that instantly turns this on. When you first turn a tool on, a saw, whatever else, it has a surge, and this will do 1,000 watts. So let's see what this thing is pulling. So I think I saw this got up to 153. Let's try it again. Cannot see my sunglasses. 127. Now it's running at 109. So we'll throw this guy in here. And let us sit. Stopwatch. Let's see how long this takes. My Milwaukee pump takes quite a while. It takes I don't know, 7 minutes or so to empty 55 gallons. It's not very fast, and it clogs up a little bit, so using the sump pump will definitely help. This thing, it's pretty light. We'll walk over there in a second and see. I was pulling 143 watts now that it's got some water flowing through. It must be working a little harder at 45. It's pretty lightweight, this thing. We'll walk over to the scale that I use for the feed and see how much it weighs. It says 15 pounds on their website, but I don't think it is 15 pounds, honestly. It's a nifty little power station. I wish I got the 1,000 instead of the 500, just for what I'm doing, but this is perfect to charge batteries over at the house because we don't have power over there yet. So it works for that, but the 1,000 I think would definitely come in it would definitely come in a little bit more handy. But it works. Like I said, it's got a solar panel that comes with it, and you can run. They're 100 watt solar panels. You can run 100, 200, and heck, you can probably run 500. So today it's a little cloudy. I hooked it up on a day like this before. It's pulling about 75 watts. So on full sun, it'd probably pull a lot more. All right, so you can see how when it's full power on the pump, it's pulling 157 watts, and that was 55 gallons that it pumped out. It took about 2 minutes 15 seconds, 2.5 minutes, and then it went from 95 to 88. So it's hooked up to the other barrel right now, but it'll run through those two no problem. And then I can either, if it's like today, I can hook up the solar panel and charge it, or I can just, if it's overcast, I can plug it into the camper and charge it back up that way too. So it's weird, there's no, on this side of the camper, there's no outlets. So to run that sump pump, we were having to open that back window and run it in there, which is kind of a pain. So having that little charger is pretty nice. So it's on sale right now on Amazon, I think. They got a $100 off coupon, and it's either 5 or 8 or 10% off as well. So pretty decent deal. And we're actually looking at getting one of these. So far so good. We'll keep you guys updated as to whether or not it works, but there's a link down in the description. If you buy one, we don't get anything. So feel free to buy or don't buy. It doesn't, we don't get anything from it. So they were just nice enough to send us one to test out. So that's what we're doing. All right, so that is done. And I need to open this crate, but I don't have my knife. I sent it out to get sharpened and I still don't have it back yet. So let me go get some. All right. this thing out because I don't need it in there. We don't need that in there just to go across the yard. It's probably for long-term stuff. All right. So now this thing is quite deep. We will try to catch them. See how big these things are. Whoa! That didn't work. All right, we got them all. Now we'll go over to the tractor and get them in. Let's see if we can't get them to go out and go in there. All over me. Man, those turkeys poop a lot. So they got water, they got feed. We have been giving them a little bit of grass. They're probably trying to figure it all out. I do have to hang this feeder, but I need to get some chain. I don't want to hang it with rope because it'll stretch and I don't want it to break and fall and crush one of them. So I gotta get that, and then I also have to get a grit feeder, which I'll make the same one that I did with the brooder and the same one I have for the layers. It's just out of PVC. It actually works out pretty well. So. I'm mowing this front pasture. There's the garden. Turkeys are over there. And I mowed it exactly 1 week ago today, maybe even down to the hour. And this is what almost 3 inches of rain does. That stuff is probably up to the top of my boot and then some. So this is, here at my knee, this is mid calf right there, and it's mid calf, which, I mean, it's a little patchy. You can see some patch in here from no rain and whatnot, but mowing it down, all that cut grass will mulch the grass and help it out. But if we keep getting rain, this should grow back pretty good. And we're putting the chickens up in this pasture this year because we're not doing anything with this besides planting trees up there where the camper is. We're gonna build a shop. Hopefully, probably not next year, hopefully the year after we start on that. So we don't want to put the chickens up there and just waste their fertilizer. So This pasture we know is getting nothing but trees. Well, it's not really, it'll be kind of an orchard, but this would be good to have the chickens go through there. So this little strip right here, I did not mow because that's where the turkeys will go. And then I mowed over here, but we'll stop when they get closer. So yeah, a little bit of rain, it does the pastures really good. So it's just too bad we didn't have any for the last 2 months. All right, well, so far so good. It's been about, I don't know, an hour and a half since got another little storm rolling in. Since we put them out here, they seem to be doing good. They're eating grass, eating grain. I'm gonna order the longer tarp, like I think I said earlier, but the wind comes this way. Typically it comes like at the RV or at like the front of the RV. So I don't know how much the tarp would help if it comes down the side right now because the back is towards the wind. So, but it'll help when they get up there and then make the turn and go that way, it'll help. But we don't have crazy storms or crazy cold windstorms in the summer. So that's more in the winter, and they're going to be gone before that. So, yeah, so far so good. We'll check on them in the morning. Well, it's a beautiful foggy morning. The fog's kind of clearing off a little bit, but I can see it maybe off in the distance a little bit. All the turkeys have made it through the night. They've done a good job, and they're eating of the grass and clearing things out. So now we'll get them moved one length ahead, get their feed topped off, and they'll be good to go for another day. We'll have to get this hanging, but I haven't been to town yet to get a chain. All right, so one thing I did find is this bends at an angle. So what I'm going to do is I have some metal bushing sleeves. I'm going to drill through the base of this so that then I can put this bolt through that sleeve, and that should make things a little bit sturdier and a little bit better, but it still works so far for now. So first few days of moving them takes them a little bit because they don't want to walk. They got to learn how to walk. So there's a guy somewhat local to us that sells barrels, which is what we put all our feed in. And he had these ones, so we figured it would be perfect for turkey feed and chicken feed out in the pasture. Because last year we had to use buckets, carry buckets out every day, and it was a little bit of a pain in the butt. So they didn't eat much feed this time though. All right, and I already checked their water. I'll show you guys. It's about halfway, so they'll be good. I'll fill that up later. But you can see the area they've been. It's all trampled down and eaten and pooped on. This really is my favorite time of the year when birds go out on pasture. It's just a sight to see, and I don't think I'll ever get sick of seeing it. So far, the first impressions of the Suscovich tractor is I do like it. It's way easier to stand up in. I don't think it's really any heavier than the 𝑀𝑎𝑖𝑙 tractors, which we have right there, and we'll use those for meat birds this year. The one thing I don't like about it is it's smaller, so in order to fit as many birds as we're gonna do this year and in the future, you need multiples of those ones, these ones, compared to these ones. So that one, I think, where is it? I think it's 5 by 8, 40 square feet. We should hold 20 birds, 20 chickens. Hopefully it holds 20 turkeys. We may have to move them out, or move them twice a day. Whereas these 𝑀𝑎𝑙 ones will probably hold 40 birds. So double the size, we would need double the chicken tractor. So that's one downfall, but it sure is nice to just stand up in there. So anyway, that is getting our turkeys out to pasture. And we're very close to getting chickens as well. They'll go in the brooder and then we'll move them out to pasture, and things are shaping up. But with that comes, it's getting closer to fall, which is nice, but also a bummer. So anyway, we've dragged this one out long enough. So thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and we'll see you on the next video.